The metaverse and cryptocurrency seem to be concepts that go hand in hand, virtual worlds and virtual money to spend in them, and both form an integral part of what is being hyped these days as Web 3, the third generation of the internet following the Web 1, which is the World Wide Web, and also the Web 2, which is the social media. And the idea is that this version of the internet will be more experiential and engaging, involving virtual and augmented reality, and also to create immersive 3D environments. It's clear that there is a potential synergy between the two ideas, and also the metaverse could add significant value to the global economy to the tune of $1.5 trillion by 2030. And much of that value could be realized in cryptocurrency. And this could mean cryptocurrency truly breaking into the mainstream as more and more of us become used to using them as a means of payment. And to discuss further about this, joining us this morning is the co-founder and CEO of Virtual Tech Frontiers, Sindian Berhad, Jason Low. Jason, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Jason, first of all, before we begin, you're the expert here. Help us to comprehend the relationship between the metaverse and cryptocurrencies further.
Yep. Hi, very good morning, everyone. I'm Jason Low over here from Virtual Tech Frontier, and we are a metaverse development company. We've been involving ourselves into building like VR, AR solutions for the past few years already. That's why when Meta came and talked a lot about the metaverse, this is something that we believe will be great for the industry. Now, the metaverse has a lot of misconceptions or misunderstandings of what it is, or in the Malay terms, we like to call it meta-mesta, for example. So in the metaverse, we believe at Virtual Tech Frontier that you need to have 5 pillars to make a platform truly a metaverse per se. And the 5 pillars that usually people don't realize that you need in the metaverse is number 1, gamification concepts. Number 2, the social engagement layer aspect of it. Number 3, you need to have education and awareness, which will allow people to learn something, be inspired in the platform. However, all is not fun and games. As in number 4, people are also looking for work elements to do it. People are in the platform to actually earn a living, work inside. And number 5, the most important aspect is you need to have a commerce element into it. So by merging the social element and also the digital economic element into a platform, this is what we believe will be a true metaverse platform down the road. A good example for this would be Instagram, for example, is one. A lot of great engaging social elements into it. And also Grab, for example. Many people don't realize that you can actually earn a living in Grab. You can go register as a Grab driver, earn a living wage. And with the money earned in Grab, you can actually also start to purchase items, right? You can buy goods, you can buy F&B. So earning and buying is already a sort of digital economy within the Grab app. So we believe that recently with the investment of our new investors, 500 Global itself, merging the social elements and also the digital economic elements will be the true factor of what makes a metaverse by itself. However, you mentioned earlier on about linking it to cryptocurrency, and we all know right now that the market is bad, the market is having some sort of crash right now. So I think the better question that I would like to share with the audience today is that would brands or corporate companies be interested in building something that is so heavily dictated by the market, right? So if the market in cryptocurrency is not doing well, does the metaverse tank with it? So early on, as I mentioned, the 5 pillars of what makes a metaverse a metaverse. Technically, you do not need to rely on cryptocurrency for the metaverse to flourish. At the end of the day, if you have the 5 elements, gamification, work, social, education, commerce into it, you can also integrate regular currencies that were used into the aspect. Like Facebook, or now they're being called Meta, they are not building the metaverse in a cryptocurrency or blockchain layer, right? They're also building it in what everyone knows of today as a metaverse platform. So brands should focus more on building the metaverse for long-term engagement for the users, rather than focusing on how the metaverse is actually really relying on the cryptocurrency market to sustain in the future.
So Jason, as you mentioned with the crash of the cryptocurrency recently, so is there any indication that the metaverse will shrink in terms of investment and users?
Right. So as I positioned the question earlier on, right, brands are here to build something long-term. And in, from a recent finding, so I have been making my tours across universities across Malaysia, and I do realize that a lot of the students these days, they are very engaged in what we call gamified platforms. Like 100% of the users that is into these gamified platforms interact, engage, and spend money that is non-crypto related. So the Metaverse is trying to get this concept of next generation engagement to actually work on and interact and engage with these kind of platforms. If you're talking about investments in the cryptocurrency sector, that is only a part of what the Metaverse truly is. It talks a lot about the investment side of things, of regarding how you're going to trade cryptocurrency and things like that. And we do know fundamentally the Metaverse itself is not only about that. It's all about the elements that I mentioned earlier on how can we make an engaging platform that can sustain its users no matter the currency, right? So we at Virtual Tech Frontier and also 500 Global itself believe that if we build a Metaverse that's only tied to the integration of cryptocurrency, it will make things a bit volatile. It will make things not that sustainable per se, right? So by integrating different brands and using our common currency that we have right now in the economy, that is what we think that would be a better way moving forward.
Jason, what will the trend be like for the Metaverse here in Malaysia, maybe in the next coming years?
Right. So recently, ever since like Facebook changed their name to Meta, right? A lot of our corporate clients, so we've been doing all sorts of corporate client projects for the past year during the pandemic, right? We built a virtual solution that enables corporate companies to give better engagement to their users. Because for a recent study that I've been doing on myself, we have asked a lot of young adults, like when was the last time you went to a social media corporate page? And a lot of them said that, they have not visited a corporate page for the past year or so. However, what they are engaging is definitely what we call the gamified virtual layer of things. So a lot of the next generation young adults, college students, or even kids per se, they are so in tune with using these sort of virtual platforms for engagements. They learn new things via gamification. They learn new things via a digital 3D environment per se. And this is what brands would find really strong use cases in. So we've recently launched a Metaverse product with a corporate client in Malaysia itself, which is targeted towards kids, right? So kids through a gamified engagement layer can learn, get educated about the brand's product, get educated on what the brand believes in. And these are metrics that nowadays you don't see in our typical social media pages per se. So with this in mind, brands have been really actively engaging us to build their own version of the Metaverse, and then with their own version of Metaverse, they would then create various engagement strategies that would be beneficial for the brands in the long term. Because fundamentally, a Metaverse is still a digital virtual product. And what this means is that the whole world can actually participate in what you as a company is doing in Malaysia, for example. So if you build your own virtual space and then you have all sorts of virtual content within the space, anyone all over the world, maybe people in Singapore, maybe people in Taiwan, can actually log in and engage your brand in a new dimension, which is the 3D layer, which I was talking about earlier on.
All right. Jason, last but not least, how is the governmental support in Malaysia for the Metaverse? Are there any policies in place which is adequate enough to nurture the industry, and what more needs to happen?
Right. So I have been still keeping in close contact with government agencies like MDAC or the new Meranti per se. I've been meeting the management discussions. I do know in these government agencies now, they are quite involved into educating people within cryptocurrency, within the blockchain. If you look into the webinars or the events that they are doing recently, they have invited even international speakers, right, to come over and share about the experience for how companies can go into the blockchain, how companies can go into get started in cryptocurrency and not, right, NFTs, things like that. However, what the Metaverse itself again is a very different layer, because the Metaverse is a layer which we call about the virtual platform per se, that would have the 5 pillars I mentioned earlier on. So I do know the government agencies really looking into blockchain technology, educating about cryptocurrency usage, but still not too much regarding the education awareness of the Metaverse usage and development by itself. So recently, they will then approach stakeholders like us to go in to tell them what's in the market, what are corporate companies using the metaverses for, and then from there we can then work hand in hand with the government agencies to actually do really great awareness to the general public. Because at the end of the day, usually the general public would still really have trust in the government agencies. Like if the government agencies say, this is a great technology platform to use, it has really long-term value, the government agency still holds a lot of power in terms of influence and in terms of how they can educate and actually show great use cases to the public via their channels. So I feel that the government agencies Policies or not, there'll be a different matter down the road. But if they continue advocating the usage of the metaverse, I think that'll be fantastic for the government agencies themselves.
All right, Jason, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Jason, that is Jason Low, co-founder and also CEO of Virtual Tech Frontiers Niam Berhad.